Today's episode is Inspiration Manifestation, and as you may have noticed, I decided to apply some fresh inspiration myself to this review. Hey, we all knew I'd have to be more like the other reviewers of this show eventually, right? Now, admittedly, it is a bit more restrictive this way, but at least I can still do this. The problem is, I never actually figured out how to reverse the transformation into my pony-sona. So it looks like whether we like it or not, I'll have to do not just this review, but all of my reviews like this from now on.
Forgot to do the review. Well, good thing I sleep in my jeans. In today's episode, Inspiration Manifestation, Rarity volunteers to build a puppet theater for a puppeteer putting on a show at a fair for children. However, after all her hard work, he shoots her down because he can't pull the cart around and he can't fit his head and his puppets through the theater at the same time. Gee, sounds more like he should be blaming oat burgers than Rarity, doesn't it? With Rarity's spirit crushed, Spike sets out to help her, retrieving a spellbook from a hidden room in the old castle of the two sisters that increases Rarity's innovation tenfold and allows her to make anything she imagines a reality instantly. Thus, she makes a new puppet theater and redeems herself for the puppet master. But she's also corrupted by dark magic. Gee, these spells never know when to quit while they're ahead, do they? Thus, Rarity goes on a rampage to give all of Ponyville a makeover, and one by one her friends are forced to adopt new tools and clothes that, while more glamorous, are nothing short of a prison of inconvenience. Wait, wasn't that the problem the spellbook allowed her to overcome with the puppet master? I mean, now we're learning the same lesson twice? So anyway. Actually, that's pretty much it. Rarity forces herself on everyone Spike cares about, insisting she knows what's best, and Spike nods in agreement to keep the peace for fear of hurting her. You know, like if they were married. What? Come on, come on. Come on, why do you think they keep cutting back to Mr. and Mrs. Cake who have no lines and no relevance in this episode? What do you think they're implying? Huh? So is this episode as inspired as Rarity, or will I be manifesting some of my darkest criticism? Let's get the second opinion. You know, it's actually pretty fitting that today's episode is about artistic expression and creativity, because it's time to announce the results of the very first Viewer Appreciation Corner. Come with me, please. Now, in case you missed it, Viewer Appreciation Corner is where I ask you guys to send me your fan art and videos relevant to this show so I can announce my picks for favorites at the end of every month. And though there was some tight competition in the fan art category this time around, the winner is Jonathan Thibodeau for his pieces Rainbow Dash and Alicorn's Revenge. And in case I'm pronouncing his name wrong, he also goes by J-Tip.
First, we have Rainbow Dash, which is a picture of Rainbow Dash winning a race as signaled by Twilight while tank cheers are on. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's Derpy about to come in second there. It's a great rendering of all the characters, and you all know I like Rainbow Dash, but every bit as cool is Alicorn's Revenge, a picture of Twilight firing what I believe is Piccolo's Light of Death, aka the Special Beam Cannon, and crying, "In the name of magic and friendship, I hereby command you to die!" Suffice to say, the detail here is excellent, amounting to two very great drawings.
Yeah, and his version of Rainbow Dash was a lot closer than this one. Okay, and the winner in the video category is Calliope Pony for her video, The CMC's Cutie Marks.
Now this video has gotten some appreciation already, and there is a reason. In a true labor of love, Calliope Pony sets out to explore the what, when, and why of the Cutie Mark Crusaders getting their cutie marks. And I don't mean a gushy labor of love either. She's clearly been paying attention to how the show has progressed the characters, and what she comes up with is very thoughtful, very fitting, and very plausible too, sort of making you want to see it happen her way whether you actually think it will or not. In fact, personally, I'm almost worried that what the show does come up with won't be as good as her version. At 8 minutes long, it's also very concise, and it never drags. I may not have seen a ton of fan content, but I still have no problem calling it, bar none, my favorite take on them getting their cutie marks to date. Even better than this.
So thank you, J-Tib and Calliope Pony, for the great work. And remember, there's a winner at the end of every month. So if you'd like credit for the work you've done, please send it in. And with that said, let's get back to the review. Alright then, so the first thing I want to say about this episode, Inspiration Manifestation, is actually that I thought it could have been a great one. This is one of those episodes that seems to have a very strong sense of what it wants to do, and how to get the point across. The delivery is very fluid, the emotions are conveyed very strongly, even all the way down to the animation. Even the shade of green they chose
for the dark magic Rarity is corrupted by. It seemed to be just have a very strong sort of overpowering hue to it, kind of like shiny and fuller than the shades we've seen used for the magic so far. So even that, I thought, got the point across very well. Just like, yeah, corrupted by dark magic, but still creative dark magic. So, okay, yeah, everything, the voice acting, the delivery, okay, yeah, it all conveyed the emotions very well. It had a sense of how to balance the humor and the seriousness. Like, it knew that Rarity flipping everything in the town around so that it's much more her style now, much trendier, but also much less useful in a way that no one wanted or needed. So, okay, let that be funny, but never broke my investment in the characters and just, yeah, what they were going through. So, okay, that was pretty well done. And then it also knew, though, when sort of a subversive humor could punch up the point, like Spike finding the book he gives to Rarity in a hidden room that turns out to be booby-trapped, but this particular booby-trap is not very good. Spike just walks down the stairs and out of the room while while the floor is collapsing behind him, and he doesn't even notice the room is collapsing around him. Not a very well-designed trap because it doesn't even catch up to him as he's walking out of it. And actually, that's a very good point. Why are all of these traps designed so perfectly? Like, wasn't just one of the evil trap engineers a little not so ahead of his time? Just like, 100 years later, maybe it doesn't hold up so well. But alright, so, yeah, I appreciated that. I appreciated the joke with, Rarity crying into several tubs of ice cream, which, and granted, if that was the whole joke, it would have been kind of cheap, but no, we get into how Rarity specifically cries into tubs of ice cream, just like, sobbing, overwhelmed with grief, but then pausing every sentence or so to take a bite, and while making the Cookie Monster sounds like, Spike, what's the point? What's the... What's the... Just, okay, I really appreciated that, and, very strong Rarity moment there, even though it was kind of making fun of it. Well, actually, Rarity doing sort of a parody of people as wrapped up in their work and their personality as she is. That's sort of part of her character, moments like that. So, okay, that was very strong. But also, though, it also punched it up with moments that were kind of creepy. It knew how to do that, too. Like the part where when she first starts modifying things, like I think it was after Applejack's cart, and she says, as a matter of fact, Spike, we shouldn't even tell anyone that it's me behind all of it. We should keep it just between the three of us. I was like, she didn't even say it like that, obviously, just say it, just between the three of us. And yeah, that got me, yeah. So, and she explains that she means herself, Spike, and the book, but we don't get any other explanation on top of that. We just have to imagine what that's implying, and very well done there. So, okay, a lot of very strong characterization in this episode, and if it had managed to nail it all the way through, I thought this kind of could have been Rarity's Philly Vanilli, just like sort of the joy that episode conveyed with Fluttershy, just, that could have carried over, because, there is sort of a wish fulfillment aspect here, just the joy that Rarity is experiencing, except, this time around, obviously the point would have been, instead of shying away from it too much, this should have been like, okay, back it up a little bit, and, just, instead of, like, forcing people to like it from you, just, do the best you can, and then, so it could have been that, but, I mean, obviously, where I'm going with this is that it wasn't. It sort of lacks that episode's kinetic energy, just instead of building on itself all the way through. Like, Philly Vanilli had a really great montage, just conveying all the joy Fluttershy was experiencing, and just more and more as it went, and just, building the feeling as it went. The pacing in this episode, it's a little more cut and paste, stop and start. Just, Rarity changes one thing and then another, and the reaction is sort of the same the whole time, and where it could have made up for that, and again, exploring the relationship between Rarity and Spike, it didn't quite deliver on that as well as it could have. It had me invested in that for a while, because like I said, there's a lot of strong characterization there, just like how much Spike cares about Rarity, and how he wants her to be happy, and then versus how Rarity really appreciates him, and is starting to value his word and his assistance. Like, it seems like their relationship has sort of progressed past Spike's crush, where he might still have those feelings, but where, I mean, obviously it didn't work out quite that way, and yeah, for obvious reasons. And so now instead it's sort of grown into what seems like a loving friendship. So, it conveyed that very strongly. That's all well and good, but like I said, it does not quite build to something great with that, because I was invested for a while, but eventually you start to see that they're just gonna do the same thing the whole time. Rarity changes something and then inadvertently puts a lot of pressure on Spike to approve, and yeah, he's gonna keep, good job, keep being too nervous, too reluctant to hurt her feelings, to say that it's gone too far, until he at the end learns that he has to speak up and give it to her straight. So yeah, once it became clear that they were just going to keep repeating that, I was kind of like, alright, yeah, it's not building to much. Then it just sort of lost its edge, became just sort of a good episode, and yeah, once I started viewing in that mindset, it stayed a good episode. The end where Spike gives it to her straight after teaming up with Aloysius still doesn't stop her onslaught, her path of destruction, and then they have a sweet sort of reconciliation, and with a good point made. That it all worked pretty well, so I'd say this is a good episode, but yeah, it is definitely not a great episode. I even watched it again just to be sure, and actually knowing what it was going to do and what it wasn't sort of took even more of its edge away. So alright, it does not manage to be Season 4's 7th great episode, but it's still a pretty good one, I think, and otherwise there's not too much more to say. Like, I did appreciate Aloysius, for one, how he's sort of Spike's conscience in this episode. You can still only say who, but they're finally easing back, on the jokes about how Spike thinks he's asking who. That wasn't getting old at all, but, alright, so yeah, instead he talks to Aloysius. He seems to understand what he's saying, or at least he's imagining that he does, but Aloysius, from his facial expressions, he kind of seems to agree, or it's kind of implied that, yeah, Spike is getting what he's saying. So, alright, I thought he did pretty well in this episode, and then also it seemed like they were adding a theme of making something glamorous versus making something functional. Like the puppeteer from the beginning, he points out when Rarity brings him an even flashier cart, the fact that it looked good or didn't look good, that was never the problem. He couldn't use it, was the point. So, alright, there's that. And then Rarity going around, even though she was able to change it to what he wanted in time, that I guess was only because he just told her what he wanted. She starts giving herself permission to do whatever she wants, and same problem. It's nicer looking, but nobody can use it. So, alright, I guess there was a nice little exploration of the theme with that. So yeah, but even so, not a great episode, but as Spike episodes go, this is, bar none, his best on my card. I mean, I guess you could debate whether this is more of a Spike episode or more of a Rarity episode. It seemed like a pretty even split to me, except for the fact that it's more Spike who learns the lesson at the end. So, okay, it is more his episode, but yeah, it's definitely one of those shared spotlight episodes, and but in either category, it is definitely Spike's best. The only ones that I even said were decent before were Power Ponies Just for Sidekicks and Dog and Pony Show, and ironically, the best of those three, arguably the best of those three, was Dog and Pony Show, and that was another one where he was only the co-star. So yeah, I guess I really have trouble letting him carry these on his own. But okay, I teamed up with Rarity again, and he made his best episode so far, in my opinion. It is definitely a good one. So alright, definitely happy to see that. But that's pretty much all I have to say. So, it's a very simple episode, very straightforward, and what works and what doesn't is pretty clear to me. So, alright, the next episode is Equestria Games, so take care, see you there. So I'm thinking nightmares about my own pony sauna, which sounds like something at the spa Rarity attends, are clearly a sign that I've been spending way too much time around this franchise. It is time to start a new series to go with this one every week, one filled with much more testosterone, and completely its opposite in every way possible. So then, let's look through my collection here and decide what it's going to be. Now that's Animation 2. Now that's also sort of a geekdom. Here we go. The new series will be about Adam Sandler movies. Ah!
I am really starting to regret having that character in my subconscious. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, send it to your enemies. And if you'd like to talk about this some more, you can join the community on Facebook, Twitter, or one of the other links posted down in the description. And don't forget to send me your videos or fan art relevant to the show for Viewer Appreciation Corner at the end of every month. Thanks for watching.